morning again and welcome back to our second session on BSBTEC203 research using the internet. On this session we're going to focus on conducting the actual research. So, when we're going to conduct research, we need to access the internet. So first you would start your computer. And then we're going to look at choosing an internet browser. So, if you can all start or look at your internet, and I'll just give you the password there for the internet. Give you a little bit of time to do that.
So
101. As opposed to 101.
Oh.
So 101. So the numeral 1, the numeral 0, and the numeral 1. Okay, so once you've opened your computer and you will choose your web browser, so we're going to be using Google Chrome, and then is our web browser, and then we'll be looking at linking up to Google as a search engine within Google Chrome. So generally when you open your browser, there will be a search engine there on the home page. To make sure that you are going into Google as a search engine, you type into your address bar at the top www.google.com. If that automatically brings you to www.google.com.au, that is fine, because that's just the Australian version of the Google browser. So are we all comfortable on that? Yep. So, going to watch another quick video.
Google does a great job of answering questions and showing us the content we're searching for online, most of the time. When we don't get the results we're looking for, we may need to rethink our choices of search terms or use some extra tricks to point Google in the right direction. For example, let's say we want to know how my favorite sports team did last night. They're called the Wolves, so I'll search for Wolves on Google. But Google isn't giving me the results I want. I'm seeing a lot of animals and not much about sports. That's okay. I can just learn about my favorite bird instead, the blue jay. But when I Google blue jays, I get the opposite problem. A lot of news about sports and nothing about birds. What's going on? Well, it sometimes seems like Google can read our minds. It's not perfect. Here are some tricks you can use to help narrow down your searches so you can always find what you're looking for. When we want to look something up using a search engine, the first thing we can do is create a query. Queries are the words we enter into a search box or address bar to tell our search engine what we want to find. When looking at your query, Google will focus on words it thinks are important and ignore the small words that don't add a lot to the meaning. It also doesn't pay much attention to the order of the words. For example, the singer Billie Eilish gives us the same results as Billie Eilish singer. A lot of times it doesn't matter if Google ignores some words or doesn't pay attention to their order. But sometimes we want to make sure Google includes certain terms, or we want results for all the words in our query in the exact order we've written them. When we want our searches to be really precise, we can use quotation marks. Here's an example. Let's say you're trying to remember the name of a character from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. You remember that she's described as a girl who chews gum all day long. So you do a search with those words. What you get isn't a lot of help. A bunch of results that talk about whether it's okay to chew gum every day. So let's try adding some quotation marks. Now that we've told Google to search for all the words in the exact order, we get our answer: Violet Beauregard. Quotation marks are an example of a search operator. Search operators are special characters that Google uses to narrow down results. Let's look at a few more. One of the best ways to narrow down your search results is to tell Google to leave out web pages that have certain keywords. Adding a minus sign to your search can exclude terms you don't want cluttering your results. For example, if you search for cruel summer, your results could be mostly about the TV show or the song by Taylor Swift that has the same name. Depending on what we're more interested in, we can use the minus sign to narrow down our results. Minus shows to focus more on the song, and minus Swift to focus more on the show. You can also narrow a search to a specific website. This can be handy if you want to find information on a website that doesn't have a search function, or has one that doesn't work very well, or if you want to search within a site you know is reliable or has good quality information. To search within a website, we'll start our search with site with a colon, followed by the website address and then the terms we're looking for. Say you want to learn about puffins and know National Geographic is a good place to start. If you search Google for site:nationalgeographic.com puffins, it will show you all the puffin content from that site. If you want to search for more than one thing at a time, you can add or between two search terms. This can be helpful when the thing you're searching for goes by more than one name. For example, let's say you want to do some research on those bugs that look like they have armor on them. The ones that roll up into a little ball. Some people call them pill bugs, others call them potato bugs, or roly-polies, or even terrestrial isopods, if you want to get scientific. If you want to learn everything there is to know about these creepy crawly crustaceans, you can do a search that looks for multiple names at once. Pill bugs, or roly-polies. That way you make sure that you don't miss out on a result that uses one term but not the other. Google is usually pretty good at finding the information you're looking for. But if you're not getting what you want, try using some search operators to get more specific results. Different people may get different results depending on where they are, what's happening in the news, and what they've searched for in the past. So you might have to experiment with the terms that you want Google to pay attention to and which ones you want it to ignore.
So, if we go back to our search terms that we were looking at in our last lesson, we can start to look at how we might put them in to our computer or into our search engine to get some results. Always great when it doesn't quite work the way you want it to do. So if we were to go then into our Google and search it, so if we put up our search, so we have our Google search bar open in Chrome, and if we were to use the information that we were given before, we might look at population. So if we go back to just population, you'll see that we're not quite close enough to what we're wanting to do, because that brings us up world population clock is our first option there, and we're actually wanting to do, say, capital cities of Australia. So we can go capital cities Australia. And the first one that we come up with there is our Wikipedia entry, and we know that's not going to be giving us the information we necessarily want, or it's not a source that we want to be utilising when we're dealing with our customers and our clients. So we can look further down, and we've got a couple of entries here for the Australian Bureau of Statistics. We've got regional population for the 2022-23 financial year. We've got capital city growth highest on record, and then we have another number of options that we're going for there. So of those, which do you think is going to be the most effective one to answer the question of research that we've been asked by our client?
Possibly the second one.
The second one, capital cities growth highest on record.
I would have thought the third one.
The third one is biggest cities in Australia, the ranking. Okay.
What site was that? Oh, it's a different site. Sorry.
Yep, that's alright.
I thought it was just. I thought they were both Bureau Statistics ones, but no.
Yeah, the top two are the Bureau of Statistics. So I'm going to just bring that across so I've got it all in screen, so we can just go back.
Yeah. No,
So the top two are Australian Bureau of Statistics. So one is regional population growth for the 22-23 financial year.
Yeah.
The second one is capital city growth highest on record. So you reckon the second one? So we'll go and have a look at that. So that's, as we can see, that is a media release from the Australian Bureau of Statistics, and it gives us some population change. It gives us the populations of the cities themselves as well. And when we have a look at the source of that information at the top of the screen, the source is the regional population from 2022-2023 financial year. So either of those two sites choices are probably going to work for us, given that they've quoted the other site as the source of this information. Ideally, we want to go back to the original source. So we can either click on that link there because it's got a hyperlink there, or we can go back and click on this one here. Now, we can see if we go through here, the key statistics, the capital cities population change, and then we've got a nice neat table here which gives us each of our capital cities within Australia. It gives us the estimated population as at the 30th of June 2023. And in the column over here, it gives us the percentage change to that population from the end of the previous financial year.
And that's basically what we're looking for?
That's exactly the information which we're looking for. So I'll give you another handout, which is a table which we'll use and handwrite it today. And if you're doing this within the office, you would most likely use that table within a Word document that you would create, and you would fill that information in. So if we're looking at Adelaide, what is the population of Adelaide at the end of June 2023? Is that large enough for everybody to read?
Is it 28? 057?
28,057. That's the increase.
Oh, that's the increase,
The
sorry.
increase. So the number we're looking for is that one there, which is 1,446,380. So can you all read those numbers okay? Yep. Because I can increase them slightly if that helps. That's a little easier to read. So if we can
It does help if you're in the right column too, I think.
Yes, so we're looking for the numbers in this column here, which is the population, estimated population of the various cities, as at the 30th of June 2023. And the other information we're looking for is the percentage increase that has occurred in that financial year.
Oh.
So I remember when I was growing up, Melbourne was definitely a long way behind Sydney.
Yeah, just realising it's not that far behind really now.
Yeah, and at the rate at which Melbourne is going, we're going to get closer and closer to Sydney, and maybe in the next few years past Sydney as the largest city in Australia.
There were reports that had already passed it.
Just seem to see it the other night on television. Yeah.
Bear in mind that these figures are 15 months
So we're actually
away.
looking for this particular period of time anyway,
Yes.
so that's...
This is the specific time that we need, that's been requested by our client in this case, so we wanted to get that information into our table.
The Sydney Boffin's one like that.
Well, there was a time in history where Melbourne was the largest city in the country, and then Sydney overtook it. So Melbourne's returning to its rightful place.
If you wait long enough, Perth will be the biggest.
It's going to be a while though.
Yes.
We're waiting for tsunamis and stuff to take out the eastern seaboard.
Global warming. Preferably not, we've got sun down that way.
So when Perth is the largest city in Australia, we'll be all speaking Afrikaans. Because they'll have all moved over from Johannesburg.
I think that's the sort of thing that'd be wise. Yeah, I wonder if you can say that in other countries with impunity, or whether it's best to keep that in.
Possibly not, yes.
Perth's one of the fastest, yeah, that was on the news too.
Perth.
Yeah.
Ballarat's long-term growth rate from the ABS used to be 1.5 and Bendigo was 1.6, so when you put that in perspective, that's mind-blowing. Over the last 5 years, Ballarat's moved up to 2%. And we've seen the rapid growth in the area.
Well, out to the west, it's a new city.
Yeah, but it's 2% now. It's longer. It's faster growing here than the long-term average, but it's still less than the Melbourne and Perth numbers. Considerably less.
Melbourne is sprawling at a great rate.
Oh, it's huge. You can see it in the numbers.
Yeah, but that's the percent, yeah.
I can remember when Werribee was a town, not a suburb, and it's now absolutely a suburb and not the outermost one now. Won't be long before Geelong's a suburb of Melbourne.
Yeah, and in 1901, a steam train took an hour to get to Geelong, and in 2024, it still takes an hour.
Still takes an hour to Geelong.
That's a true stature.
That is, yes. So you can see with this that if you put the right search terms in, initially you may not get exactly the right web page that you want, but if you land on a web page like the Australian Bureau of Statistics and it's got its information from another area of the Bureau of Statistics, it gives you that link and you can go back, and ideally you want to go back to the original report that it came out through. So that may be a census if the data is from a census year, but if it's like this and it's from a year between the census, it will be an estimate rather than a precise figure. And the Australian Bureau of Statistics are probably the best organisation in the country to be able to work out how accurate the statistics are going to be.
So what's the P?
The estimated, it does say it a little bit further down.
I was thinking the same thing, but
Don't take it away, I haven't.
Estimated resident population.
Right. So it's not claiming to be.
It's not precise, even though we've got for Sydney 5,450,496, which is a relatively precise number. And if you actually looked at it when they were doing their statistical models, it was actually probably 5,450,495.73642, but we can't have fractions of people, so they rounded up to the nearest whole person.
That sounds reasonable.
So, do we all have those numbers nice and neatly in our
At long last.
table? Yep. So,
Yeah, discuss it was in a different order from what you put here, so you have to double check yourself when you do
yes,
something like that.
but given that the client had requested
The
It
other
told us
one.
that we had it in alphabetical order, we put it in alphabetical order, we then
Ah.
have to be careful as we're translating that information from our source
Very much so.
through to our recording document, so that when we then produce our report, we have those figures accurately recorded for our client.
I would have copied it out and pasted it and then alphabetised it using the word.
Your technical skills are very good then, Eddie. Thank you very much.
I wouldn't have done anything of the sort, that's why I took so long to copy.
So, one of the other things it's important to do is to record where you got your information from. So, if we go back to that, come on. So, to record it, you would record the whole URL, and that's what appears in the address bar up here.
Oh, yes, yes.
So that would be abs.au/statistics/population/latest-release. And then you would record the date, which is the 27th of October 2024, and that way, if they want to find out where you obtained that data from, they can very easily find that data.
What is the date?
The 27th of October 2024.
Today.
Yes. So, as it says there, you also need to record the source of the information, which is the web page, and the date in which you obtained the information.
I thought it must have been the date that was actually put out, so that's why I had to ask a silly question.
Now, at any stage, when you're using any of the programs, be it Chrome browser, Google, Word, or PowerPoint, then you may come across a problem you're not quite sure how to solve. And to do that, we can always use the help function. So in Chrome, you'll see, and I'll bring those up and then come back to this slide. I can get my mouse to work. So in Chrome, you would go up to the three dots in the top right hand corner, and you would click on that, and then you have a drop down menu, and that takes you into the help menu, and in Chrome you would go across.
Where'd you get the drop?
If you click on the three dots,
Yeah.
just once, that will bring you to this drop down menu. Then you can drop down to the help menu. And once you're in the help menu there, you can go help center.
Yeah.
And if you have the internet, which I don't just at the moment, that will then bring that up so that you can see what could type in your question much like you would into your search engine. Might be, how do I remove website from my search choices? And then they would explain to you, you put minus, then the site, then the colon, and then Wikipedia. For example, if you didn't want to include Wikipedia in your search options. If you go into Word, you'll see at the top here, there's a Word toolbar at the very top of your screen. And you would go into the help function there and type in the question that you have or the thing that you're trying to find information on.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're in PowerPoint, oops, you'll see again that we have PowerPoint across the top of the screen there. And again, you would go through to the help, tap on that, type in your search section there, and whatever your question is, and that will spit out the answer for you at the end so that you know exactly how to do that. So at any stage, if you don't have somebody around who can assist you with any questions that you've got, I would highly recommend you use those help options and search for the questions there. It's even worth having a play around with that in your own time so that you know where they are, how to find them. You'll notice in your manual that it's got detailed instructions on how to get to each of those items, and you'll be able to then learn how to use it even if there's not somebody around to assist you with that.
And on the PowerPoint one, that would automatically create it into its slide format, would it?
Not necessarily, but if you said how to create a slide, that brings you an option there.
Oh,
Get help, and again, I'm not connected to the internet just at the moment, but it will bring up the appropriate page which will show you exactly how to create a slide. So pretty much anything to do with PowerPoint, there's a help function there, so it'll tell you exactly how that you can do that.
good.
Not quite sure why my internet has dropped out, but
Mine has too at the moment.
so to wrap this lesson up, walk through a quick summary. To do the actual research, once you've done your preparation for it, you'll need to access the internet. As you can see from what I've been doing before, if we don't have access to the internet, we won't be able to obtain the information that we want. You open your search engine and start entering your search terms. If you find that you're not getting exactly what you want with your search terms, modify them until you get the information that you do want. Once you've found the information, you collect the information. Ideally, when you're going through and collecting that information, double check everything, make sure that you have written all the information down accurately with no mistakes. Make sure that you've included where you've obtained the information from and the date on which you obtained that information. And finally, if you have any issues with going through and doing these sorts of things at any stage and you don't have somebody that you can ask, use the help functions on any of the programs that you are using. So does anybody have any questions on this session, or are you comfortable with what we've learned today?
That's answered a few of them, thanks. No worries.
Yeah, I found it very helpful. Thank you very much.
Excellent. No more questions? We'll wrap that up. We'll take a 15-minute break and then come back for the final session of the day.